Good morning, everyone. How are you? It's Sunday, and you know what that means? It's React Day across my channels. I'm DSP, and welcome to the Level 1 podcast for Sunday, the 30th of June, 2024. This is it. This is the grand finale, the final day of June. We are now full-fledged into the summertime here, at least in the northern hemisphere of the world. I don't know exactly where you live, and I do have more of an international audience than a domestic one. According to my analytics, I think it's like 53% of my audience is actually outside of the US. So, don't know where you are, but here, things are heating up. Temperatures are warmer. Humidity is sweeping in for the summer. And air conditioners are pumping. So, yeah, we're heading into the second half of the year. Let's hope, fingers crossed, the second half of 2024 is much better gameplay-wise or gaming-wise than the first half, because, man, the first half of this year was very disappointing. I'm sorry to say, it just really was. So many different games and franchises that looked like they were going to be good with new iterations, and they just weren't as good. I mean, even games that I was expecting to be hugely great, like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, what I feel wasn't as good as the last one. And so, let's hope for the best. We have a huge game lineup starting basically late August, correct? Into September, October, November, December. And we got to hope that some of these games are going to be good. Because, man, it has not been a good one so far. Anyway, I welcome you all here to the show. Today is React Day. Means today is more of a laid-back, chill day. There is no pressure to get any kind of progress in any kind of video game. It's more just sitting back and enjoying each other's company while I react to various things. First stream will be DSP versus the internet over on DSP Reacts, my weekly clip show. Now, I'm not shocked at this. This week, there's a lot of political submissions. Can you figure out why? Because we had this presidential debate this week in the United States that was such a joke that, like, politics are at the forefront of everyone's mind. I'll just tell everyone this. Don't worry. I'm not going to be talking heavy politics the entire React show today. You know, for some of these clips, they're ultra submissions, and we'll watch them. But I'm not going to go crazy or anything. There were some that were submitted more for the submission tier, but since we have so many political ones to get through for the ultra tier, I'm probably not going to watch many of them in the submissions tier. We're going to try to do more variety than that, okay? Anyway, should be a good show regardless. Good variety in there. Just for example, taking a quick look at the ultra member submissions for the week. We've got countdowns of the worst consoles ever. Why you can't argue with conspiracy theorists. Some stuff about Marvel Comics villains, which is interesting because I don't know what the hell's going on over there anymore. An insane bull fire festival. Jeez, it's just so much. But a lot of political stuff. Like, I would argue out of these 1, 2, 3, 4 political submissions just for ultra members today. So I think you kind of get the gist of what I'm saying here as a result of that that debate. Anyway, should be a good show regardless. I hope you'll join me over on DSP Reacts as soon as the show ends. And it should be a good time. After that, later tonight on the late stream, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time over on my DSP Throwback channel, it is time for a retro react continuing of Dark Souls 1, my original experience with the game from back in 2011 before there were guides all over the internet. There were wikis all over the internet before there was a zillion playthroughs out when there was literally nothing about the game and I was trying to play it cold. My original run was hilarious. I was failing miserably, raging constantly. At this point, we're at the point where either I have to go fight the Belfry. Is it the Bell Tower or the Belfry Gargoyles? I think the Belfry Gargoyles is from Dark Souls 2. But we have to either fight the Gargoyles or I think, if I'm correct, I might actually end up running into Dark Root or Deep Root. Is it Deep Root or Dark Root? I think it's Dark Root in Dark Souls 1, right? So I think I end up running in there like an idiot, which obviously is not what you're supposed to do yet, and getting lost and getting trounced. So we'll see tonight. Full stream of that on the late stream over on DSP Throwback. That's going to be fun, especially because I'm playing Elden Ring right now. What a contrast it will be, right? To see me playing the predecessor 13 years ago, having no knowledge of the franchise whatsoever, versus now playing the brand new one, exploring this new DLC, a whole different attitude, right? So that'll be good. I hope that you'll join me for that over there. full React day today. Of course, tomorrow we get back to gameplay. Tomorrow we will have a daytime stream of Street Fighter 6. And as a direct result of your suggestions, it's going to be a different take where basically what I'm going to do is play like 3 sets of matches and then take a break, around 5-minute break every 3 sets to talk with the audience about what we just saw in those sets, see how they're feeling, and basically just cool down and relax rather than get overheated at, too much going on. So that'll be fun. A daytime stream of Street Fighter 6. Plus, people have outright said it seems like I do better when I do day streams of Street Fighter 6 because I have more cool to me. I'm not overworked or tired at that point. And I agree. Like, it seems like when I play like Bison, when I used him for the first time on Wednesday, I was doing very good, and then play at night and you start to fall apart and getting tired probably. So anyway, that's tomorrow's day stream. Tomorrow night is something special. Tomorrow night, Monday night on the late stream, it's the premiere of Riven. Riven is the sequel to Myst from back in the day. 90s. The 1990s had a lot of PC-centric franchises. Myst was one of the huge ones. This point-and-click adventure game with tons of puzzles and narrative. Really unique fantasy design to it. And I'm excited because I played Myst many years ago. I want to say like 3 years ago. And people really loved it. And they always asked me, would you go play Riven? I was like, maybe one day. And then all of a sudden, they announced Riven Remake. Made with modern graphics, And so I'm going to play that on my mini PC. I installed it actually last night. And, what's funny is I was worried. I was like, oh, this game might be, like, really, really big. So I don't know about it fitting, like, on my PC. I wonder if it'll fit on there. And I looked, and it was only, like, 20 gigs. I was like, oh, that's actually not that bad. How much storage space do I have on my PC? Like, 850 gigs. So I guess that mini PC has, like, a pretty decently sized SSD on it. It certainly doesn't have a standard hard drive. There's no way it would fit in there, so it's got to be an SSD. I'm like, damn, that thing's actually not that bad. I could probably fit a ton of games on there. So anyway, it's installed and ready to go. I might have to downscale some settings. I probably got to play it at like 1080p, maybe 60 frames. We'll see. I hope I can. Obviously, I don't want to have this thing looking like a potato, but at the same time, people did check and said, yeah, it should run on your rig. It meets the requirements to be played. I'm like, oh, okay. Good. So hopefully we'll have a good time with that tomorrow night. Haven't played a game like that in ages, and that'll be perfect for like a late night chill stream for variety. So, and then keep in mind this week, only one more streaming day for me Tuesday, and that's going to be more Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC and Stardew Valley. I am off on Wednesday of this week. And you might say, why? Life. A bunch of stuff has happened. Had to rearrange my schedule for this week, particularly a couple appointments. That could only be done on a Wednesday. And I was like, well, there's nothing I can do about that. I guess I got to do them. So the schedule changes this week, okay? Next week, it's up in the air. I don't know if my days off will continue to be on a Wednesday or if they'll go back to Thursday. I'll let you guys know when I know. But next week should be another combination of the Shadow of the Erdtree, more Street Fighter 6, which will probably be daytime streams except for Friday Night Fights, because Friday nights is a really key time to play. Everyone expects it. Friday Night Fights is kind of a staple. I'll probably keep that going, but I'm likely going to be trying to play Street Fighter during day streams moving forward so I can have those breaks and cool down and not be what was the word? It's not really anxious. I just get like too much adrenaline in my body is what it is. My blood pressure goes up and I start getting very agitated. So hopefully having it as day streams with appropriate breaks and stuff, that won't happen. We'll find out tomorrow when I try it for the first time. And then night streams will be Stardew Valley and Riven with my React Day in the middle there. Now, next week, not this week coming up, but next week, so that first full week of July, I will have to take a night off to do private patron React videos. Likely it will be that Monday night. No, I will be missing one stream, but there's not, it's fine. Particularly this, this particular month coming up. It's not going to be a big deal. It's not going to set us back to have one stream missing or anything like that. It'll give me the opportunity to get the private React videos done right away so that we don't have interruptions later on in the month. It's going to work out fine. So no big deal there. But what this does mean is that I'm here on July 4th. And originally that wasn't going to be the case. Originally, Independence Day here in the United States was actually going to be a day off for me. But now it's not. So here's the thing. Like, I don't know how many people will realistically be here on July 4th. Like, I would hope a good amount of people would be here, but there's no telling when it's going to be a national holiday. Now, less than half my audience is American. However, it's like 48%. So it's still a humongous chunk, right? So, yeah, I might have a big reduced views on Thursday as a result of the national holiday. I guess we'll see how that goes. Likely it'll just be another day of Street Fighter and Riven. That way, it's not a huge deal if you can't make the Street Fighter stream, but hey, you could get caught up later, right? It's not like you're missing a narrative-based experience there. So there you go. I'll be here all day. Okay, that kind of covered the schedule, right? Outside of all of that, what else is going on right now? Well, not a lot, all right? And you can always tell when there's really not like anything too crazy going on. Have the audio settings changed? It sounds like the noise gate isn't working. No, I have not changed them. Let me check. That is not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted either. Where's the audio properties? No, it's still... Okay, that's correct. And then audio properties. Filters. Nope, filters are still on. Don't know what to tell you. The filters are on. Today, it's my allergies. My allergies are very bad right now. I'm sneezing. My eyes are itching. I have gunk in my throat. It's gross. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just that time of year. So it is what it is. Apologies if, you're hearing me clear my throat more or whatever. I can't really do anything about it. That's just what happens in this part of the country this time of year. It actually hit later this year. Sometimes it hits in like April. And here we are. It didn't really affect me till June. And it'll probably affect me for like the next month or two. And there's nothing I can really do about it. That's why I have to keep clearing my throat and everything. Okay. So here's the thing. There's just not a lot going on right now in regards to big deal stuff. And what do I mean by that? I mean, right now, things are actually going quite good. For example, the Elden Ring playthrough, going swimmingly. I've tried multiple different builds. I'm swapping builds, so I'm not just doing the same thing the entire playthrough. It seems like every few streams I swap weapons and change up my strategy. I started off magic build. That didn't work. Then I tried dual electric axes, and they were kind of stubby. Then I found this insane anvil and started doing giant stagger build jump R2. That worked for a bit, but I kind of got bored of it. Then I adopted a shield. I said, ooh, maybe I could try tank build. And it was working, but I wasn't really optimizing it. So last stream, I equipped a couple things that optimized it, including a new hammer that now has a counterattack buff attack with a giant holy explosion. And I equipped a flask, a wondrous flask, or physic flask, whatever it's called, that buffs counterattacks if you do perfect guarding. So you have to guard relatively close to when the attack hits and then do the counterattack, and you keep buffing that attack. So, like, literally, I'm like 20 hours into this now, maybe? I think I'm like 18 hours in. Oh, no, I am. I'm 20 hours into Shadow of the Erdtree. And, by the way, I guess people are saying I'm about halfway through it, which is pretty crazy to think that I'm only halfway through it. I guess it really is a 40-hour DLC. Keep in mind, I am exploring everything, right? Like, I'm not skipping anything. I'm literally going through it with a fine-tooth comb, looking for all the optional dungeons and all the stuff to do. So that's probably why it's taking me a good time to get through this. But anyway, 20 hours in, I've already changed my build 1, 2, 3, 4 times, Now, will I completely respec? I might again. I really like those dual swords I got from Rolana, and I had just gotten enough dexterity to use them, but then I was like, dude, I'm building the tank build. I want to try it. So it worked yesterday, and I'm excited for more for that. Like, it's going really well. This playthrough, I'm enjoying myself in general. It's much different from how I approach these kind of games because I'm giving it a shot, trying new weapons, doing different things. It's really good. So it's working out well. Street Fighter 6 and Bison. Arguably my best start ever trying a new character. I mean, I've literally only played the guy twice, and I'm only a stream away from hitting Master. I very well could hit Master tomorrow as long as I don't hit a bunch of roadblocks. Tonight, I'll probably watch a bunch of videos of Bison to see what top players are doing with him, different from what I'm doing. But having a good time with Bison and with this more relaxed stream style that I'm going to be doing tomorrow with Bison, taking those breaks, I think I might do really well and maybe get him to Master, in which case I want to keep going. I want to keep improving and climbing, right? So that's really cool, right? Stardew Valley. Wow, I never imagined that playing that game was ever going to have this level of success. And what I mean by success, I don't mean, oh my god, sky-high attendance and views, and because that's not really what success is for me. You know, I'm a small-time guy. I'm never going to have sky-high views on anything that I do. It's never going to happen. YouTube doesn't even allow for it. It's so rare that my videos would even hit the algorithm. So, in regards to a playthrough like that, just to have enough people who are there who are engaged and constantly talking, enjoying the stream, not only talking about the game and helping me with the mechanics of the game, but also just other things. It really is the kind of ultimate late-night chill stream where we all hang out and have a great time together. And it really allows me to de-stress from the stressful streams. On a day when I'm playing Elden Ring or Street Fighter 6, to then have that Stardew Valley in there, it allows me to calm down and get the stress out and relax. And that's really the whole point, I think, of the game, is it seems to be that kind of a game. But I mean, let's be honest, the game is exceptional by itself. It has tons of content, good variety of stuff to do in it. You know, there's fishing, there's mining, there's combat, there's farming, there's a social aspect, talking with the people, there's exploration, there's questing, there's crafting, there's building. I mean, all of that stuff together is really, really neat. So it's exactly what I need. And, you know, I'm happy that even though 7 years ago, when I first played this game, I thought it was good. And I asked my audience, would you like to see me bring it back? And I actually did bring it back once, and it just didn't click back then for whatever reason. It didn't click at all. And a lot of people were like, nah, don't play it again. So I never did. But I always owned it on Steam. And now, having played it during this Indies Marathon in May, you know, boom, bring it back. All of a sudden, it fits perfectly. It's what people want. I'm enjoying it. It's working great. So I'm enjoying doing it, you know, a couple times a week. And I'm going to keep that in the rotation as a perfect late night chill stream. The one question mark here will be Riven. I hope Riven will work. You know, it was like $30 on Steam. So not a giant, you know, budget-breaking game or anything like that. I really liked Myst years ago. I thought that the Myst playthrough was special, something different and fun to be able to hang out with you guys and try to solve puzzles, talk them out, and then sometimes I got stuck and you guys would help me with hints and the like. And in this case, a remake where it's going to have better graphics and everything should be pretty neat. It's my absolute first exposure to the game. I've never played Riven before, so it'll be a true first-time reaction to it. I'm excited for it. So everything going on right now in my schedule is working really well, right? And to be quite honest, this year has been so much better for me than last year. I have completely and utterly stayed out of drama. 100%. Okay? That's great. That I avoided all the drama nonsense. It's actually gotten so good for me that now the people who obviously thrive off of the drama literally just have to invent things every day that don't happen. Which is hilarious that they have to do that, you know? They literally make shit up. Like yesterday, now just to briefly breeze by this, 'cause I'm not going to focus on this because it really is just a fart in the wind to me. It's nothing. But yesterday, sadly, a former very longtime fan of mine passed away. And so I did a tribute video to this person because I used to be very friendly with them. I used to have conversations with them. They were very influential in the accessibility community for video games. So I made a 5-minute demonetized, well, not demonetized, unmonetized, separate tribute video on this channel for that person. Now, why did I do that? Because I've now been around for a long time, and I know that if you're going to do something like that, you absolutely make sure that it's not part of monetized content, right? If I'm going to do a tribute video to someone, no one should be making money or getting clicks and stuff based on that. It should just be a heartfelt tribute just for the sake of doing it because it's the right thing to do. Right? I want to leave a remembrance of this person because they were special to me. And I think they were special people, a special person to a lot of people. And he deserves to be immortalized in a way by having someone talk about them in that way. So I made this video outside of my stream, outside of any other content. And I purposefully made it that that was what I had to say. And I didn't talk about it all day long on purpose because I didn't want any monetization of any content regarding that. Right? That's why I did it that way. Okay? I uploaded the video before I even streamed yesterday. Completely unmonetized, all right? And I went about my way during the day. And of course, again, like I said, there's nothing going on with me drama-wise at all. So what happens? Literally those unhinged, insane, greedy, insanely immoral people made lies up about it, saying that I monetized the video. Once again, I'm trying to make money off of the deceased and all of that. Literally zero realm of reality. Never happened. But they all said it in insanely lying, defamatory videos. What they don't realize is they could outright be fucking sued for it right now because it's 100% factually wrong. There's a difference between taking something that kind of happened on a stream and exaggerating it to make drama content, to make money on YouTube, or outright lying about someone because you want to make a buck, that's illegal. In no realm of reality can you do that, okay? Anyway, yeah, so the video's been demonetized, and it's funny because people leave in comments, why is this monetized? All you have to do is look at the video. There's no ads on it. It's not a monetized video. Like, what are you talking about, right? So here's the best part about it. So since it's not monetized, what happens is some people actually started calling it out and saying, wait a minute, it's not monetized. You outright made videos saying it was monetized when it's not. That's a lie. That could get you in trouble on YouTube. That could get you sued. What do you think you're doing? So guess what they did? They changed the narrative. Oh, well, what about super thanks? So it's monetized. What? Super thanks. You mean a feature that anyone who's partnered on YouTube has and is channel wide and you can't turn off on videos? What the fuck are you talking about? So you see what I mean? When the narrative gets pushed back to them, like, what are you talking about? You're completely dishonest scumbags. They then change the narrative to try to save face when in reality, the narrative never existed to begin with, right? So, but this is what I mean. This is what they do when there's nothing going on. Because this year has been very good. There's been no drama. I've avoided, there was going to be drama, trust me. Like I said, that documentary that I almost was involved in, and I completely dodged that bullet and decided, with a lot of good feedback from everyone, from my family members, from you guys, everyone said, don't do it. And I said, you know what? That was a great choice. I got out of that, stopped it from happening, and here we are. And it's just been me making content all year. No drama. Man, they're trying. Let me tell you. And every day people come on my streams, oh, what about the review tech drama? Key logging, blah, blah, blah. What about, Boogie and his cryptocurrency scams and shit? I don't care. Why would I care about any of that? Why are you even telling me about it? I have nothing to do with it. I don't involve myself with their bullshit. The thing is, people so desperately want to pull me into this lolcow narrative that doesn't exist. I'm not part of it. I have nothing to do with it. I'm my own guy making my own content, completely away from any of that circle of bullshit. I don't want to involve myself with that circle of bullshit. Whenever you ask me, I say no, 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 and we move on. You know what I'm saying? So I have nothing whatsoever to do with any of that shit. You can try as much as you want to pull me into it. It ain't gonna happen. I'm done. I'm so far removed and done with that nonsense. So we're good. If anything, I'm actually legitimately looking forward to this June the King documentary that's going to come out about me in August. Because what I want to do is go down my entire history and look at the stuff that I've done that's both good and bad and honestly react to it. I know a lot of it's going to be bad. When I was coming up as a YouTuber, particularly, there was absolutely no example of how to do it. There was no, oh, look at this guy who made it become a millionaire and here's how he did it, so follow his example. None of that existed. There were no YouTube millionaires, right? I was one of a group of burgeoning content creators during an era of, it was like the Wild West and no one knew what they were doing. So I know that I made an absolute ton of mistakes with the kind of stuff that I was doing back then. So I'm actually looking forward to doing it. It's going to give me good stuff to do on my React channel, which has kind of been pretty dead this year, besides DSP versus the internet. And now I just covered, the Summer Game Fest and the Xbox Game Showcase. But outside of that, just hasn't been that much going on, right? So this will be opportunity for me, especially if it's as long as June the King is saying. This is going to be a 4-hour documentary. This is going to give me a chance to react long form to something. And I know it's going to be well done, even if he gets some stuff wrong, or even if the information he found is contradictory to actually what actually happened, which might happen. The thing is, the stuff that I'm really expecting is how thoroughly he covers my past before YouTube, because none of it was documented. If you're talking about the Street Fighter community, no one really did anything to document that time. It was rare that someone would record a tournament. It was just a bunch of forum posts and shit talking in IRC chat rooms. Like, that was the Street Fighter community back then. You're going to get a lot of hearsay. You're probably going to get a lot of people say, oh, I don't like you. Well, I don't care if you liked me back then. The point was that I didn't want anyone to like me. I was supposed to be the heel of the community, right? So to reflect on that time is absolutely going to be interesting and fun, I think. Even though I'm probably going to be cringing at a lot of the dumb shit from back then, you know, and even, I mean, today we cringe when I do my retro react and my old commentary and stuff on my old videos too. It's like, well, that's life. You look back at your past, you say, hey, as long as I've changed for the better, I can acknowledge that this is how I used to be. And I don't do that stuff anymore because I grew up, right? So that's what it's all about. I think that's going to be something fun to do in August, okay? But outside of that, like, there's no drama going on. This is been a relatively 6 straight months of drama-free year. With me, I haven't had any involvement in it. The one time that there's drama, it had nothing to do with me. Like, remember when what it was, the former editor from Review Tech, Jay, or whatever his name is, he basically was saying, oh yeah, he'd be interested in doing something with me. So I DM'd him on Twitter and said, hey, you want to just have a podcast where we shoot the shit or whatever? He's like, yeah. So then we go back and forth and we're talking, arranging how to do it. And then I find out he's talking shit about me on his Twitter timeline about stuff we never discussed. Like an interview or something. Like, there was no interview. We were just supposed to hang out on a stream together. So I don't know what he's talking about. So, I mean, that was like the one stupid piece of drama this year that had nothing to do with me. I didn't create the drama. I wasn't being dishonest. I was just having a little conversation with someone about a what if, you know? Everything else has been great. So, yeah, seriously, what a good year it's been. I've enjoyed the stuff we're doing. Even during the months where it was kind of dead because there wasn't a lot going on in gaming, now things have picked up. Right? Now we got a good Elden Ring DLC. Street Fighter 6 is great with Bison and stuff going on with there. And me, oh my God, the improvements to my setup this year. My videos look better. Almost no input delay now. Like, everything has been just up and up and up. And there's more coming. I'm going to do this PC migration in July, where I'm going to swap over to a newer PC. And that's going to probably improve stuff as well. I might be able to implement some new stuff like the Stream Deck, which will let me do scene transitions and funny things here probably on the fly just by pushing buttons, which will be really neat. So far, it's been great. You know, I mean, if you were to ask me what's my biggest complaint about 2024, it's the games. There just haven't been that many good games, and that's very disappointing. You know, if there were better games, I think this year would have been even better. I'm very happy that because I'm a variety content creator and because now I've got an audience that likes to just hang out with me as opposed to cares so much about the games, I'm happy that I'm not tanking because there's no good games. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it definitely could have been, well, there's no good games this year, so now everything is down for Phil because it's boring or whatever. But actually, that's not the case. Like, we've had late night chill streams where we just hang out and talk. Those have been successful, right? We were implementing new chill games and stuff. I mean, it's working well. And that's a great sign. That's a sign of a healthy community that likes just to hang out and enjoys each other's company rather than, only rely on good games, right? So, yeah, that's it. I'm having a great time. I just want you guys to know things are good right now. Your feedback, particularly, is helping me a lot for improvement. This positive feedback that you're giving me has absolutely allowed me to improve so much content that I really, really appreciate that. And I can't wait to keep improving further with you guys. So thank you so much for that. Okay. So today I don't really have that much to do on the show. I have a couple quick news stories to cover for you guys that actually are not really related directly to video games, but actually to disc media, which is kind of weird that both stories today are related to disc media, but they are. Very odd that they both came out on the same day. So we'll talk about that. Outside of that, there's just not a lot. So if you want to do some Q&A, remember, guys, anything that you do today to support this podcast carries over to my React show. And the goal is always to make $50 on a stream via tips. So if we could get that going early, then it helps out the React stream, and I don't have to worry so much about it over there. Okay? So thanks in advance. Anyone who supports this stream in any way, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. And thank you, of course, for supporting. Excuse me. Okay, so our 2 quick news stories for today, because, again, not a very heavy news day whatsoever. Pretty light news day. Sony is going to cut approximately 250 jobs from its recordable media business key manufacturing hub because there has been a dramatic decline in demand for traditional storage formats. They are actually going to slowly cease production of all optical disc storage media products, including Blu-ray discs, according to sources. Yeah. Now, what does this mean? Does this mean you can never buy physical media for anything Sony ever again? No. First of all, what it means is you're not going to be able to buy, like Sony disc, like burnable discs, burnable DVDs and stuff like that, they won't exist anymore. They used to be a competitor in that market, right? They're not going to be anymore. They feel that there's such a decline of disc media, there's no reason to have that be a part of their business model anymore. From what I'm to understand, because I looked further into the story, I was like, how is this possible? You tell me they're not going to sell any Blu-rays and they're not going to put any of their games on discs? That's not the case. Apparently, they're going to outsource it. They always did it in-house. They had their own division of their own company that would produce their discs, and they're actually going to now outsource it to cheaper companies who are doing it en masse. So for them, it's not so expensive, but for Sony, they just don't see the reason to keep manufacturing disc media anymore, okay? So, of course, this story is causing panic amongst those who love physical media. Oh my God, does this mean that we're not going to be able to have physical copies of games and movies anymore? Well, do you want the honest answer? Yeah, we're going there. Yes, we're going in that direction. We absolutely are. The writing has been on the wall for over half a decade that everything is now going to go digital, that you need to have a digital subscription somewhere to have access to a game or a movie in order to play it. I'm not saying this is good. I'm just saying this is what it is. This is what these companies are now pushing toward for a very long time. And it just seems like some people are like, they're not accepting it, or like they don't want to believe it. So they're just like, no, that's not what's happening. It's totally what's happening. Just think about it this way. Okay? You go to buy a game at a store versus buy a game on a digital marketplace. So let's just say it was God of War Ragnarok. Okay, that's Sony exclusive game. Perfect example here. So you go on your digital marketplace on your PlayStation 5, and there's a page that was designed for the game. Okay, that cost a little bit of money. There's some clips that were put there to advertise the game. I'm sure producing those cost a little bit of money. There's text descriptions. And then there's the certification process. The game has to go up, be certified by the digital marketplace that it's not a virus and shit like that. That might probably cost a little bit. And then the game's available. So all anyone has to do is enter payment information, click, process, instant download, done. Okay? Done. So is there some money involved with distributing games via digital marketplace like that? Yes, there is. Is it a huge amount? Probably not. Okay? Now let's think about the physical disc. Okay? So not only do the game developers have to have essentially something to put on that disc, whether it's the playable game or not, because a lot of cases these days it's not. It's literally a placeholder file. You put it in your console, the file triggers the download of the real game digitally. So you never actually owned the game. It wasn't even on the disc. Okay? So, that's step one, is that a lot of these physical copies aren't even really physical copies to begin with. Then, whatever file they're going to put on the disc, they have to mass produce the discs, which is what Sony is talking about right here. Previously, they were mass producing the physical discs themselves, and then putting the file on the disc, probably putting copy protection onto said disc. That's an increased cost to make sure no one can rip the file off the disc and you know, basically try to reproduce it or resell it. Or hack it and then, you know, backwards engineer it on PC or whatever it may be, hack the files, etc. You don't want anyone getting your source code, right? But then you got to mass produce the boxes. You got to mass produce the art that slides into the box for the outside case so people know what the heck they're buying, right? Some of these games have instruction booklets. A lot of them do not anymore. They phased a lot of that out a long time ago. So essentially there is physical production costs. So not only do you have all of the cost of essentially what would make this go onto the digital marketplace, but now you have a physical production cost as well. Now, how much is it? No one's going to know or tell you. Like, Sony's never going to come out and say, yeah, it costs us $3 to produce a physical copy of a disc. Why are they not going to do that? Because they don't want you to know that. They want you to think it's really expensive, so that you think, oh, the value of when I buy this game physically. But in reality, it's probably not a lot of money. It's probably a few bucks a game. But hey, you got a million seller, and it's $3 per game. They just lost $3 million because you wanted the game physically instead of digitally. Think about that. Okay? So, that's pretty interesting to think about. That just because you bought the game digitally versus physically, Sony lost $3 on the transaction, and multiply that by $1 million. Think about how much money they just lost. Right? But here's the thing. The pricing of digital and physical is exactly the same. correct? At least at launch. I should say at launch, because sometimes there are exceptions where things change, where a game might be cheaper or more expensive for a different version, and that totally really depends on the popularity of the game. Like, there's some games, they come out, and within a month they flopped, so the physical discs are insanely price slashed, because these stores don't want them on their shelves anymore. They want to replace it with product that's going to sell, so they'll be like, oh, what's 60, and now it's like 10. Yeah, get it out of here, right? So that does happen. But for the most part, the prices are identical, and it's just weird because why are you charging the same price, okay, for the digital version of a game, which has no box, no physical medium at all, no art, nothing, as you are for the physical? It's the same price. Why is that? If this is the case, and they're actually saying, listen, the reason that we're cutting out the physical copies of games is because it's too expensive for us to mass produce, there's really no value to it. I get that. So then offer it for a premium, right? Say, okay, the base game digitally is $65. But if you want to get it, physical, it's $70. So it pays for the loss of investment there for them to make the physical version. So that's what I don't get. Like, it's like they refuse to do that. Like, they don't want to say, hey, it costs more to produce the physical, pay a little bit more. I think people who want the physical would probably do that. I actually believe they would. They would pay like a $5 premium to get a physical copy. I think they're okay with that, right? But for whatever reason, they must have some weird philosophy in their mind, that that would lead to a downfall or something, or I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, in my head, what would the pros and cons of that be? Like, right now, there are companies that produce physical copies of games when a game is all digital, and people pay a premium price to own that physical version because they want a physical version on their shelf. So there already has been shown consumer interest in paying more to keep the physical alive. So then why just say, no, we're deciding to phase them out? It's kind of weird. At the same time, maybe this is just their plan. Maybe they just don't want to deal with it. If they look at a game, again, a recent sales game from Sony exclusive that sold well digitally, they're like, well, we don't really care about the physical at all. We don't even care if collectors care. We're not going to sell the product. We don't want to, right? We just want to sell the game. We don't want to sell all this extra shit. For me, it is a shame because, back in the day when I started on YouTube 16 years ago, all right, and I started a series called Release Day Unboxing. This series was so neat because I could go to the game store, which usually was GameStop at the time, and I would sit there, I would buy like 3 new games, right? And come home, look at the boxes, unbox them, and look at all this cool stuff that used to be on the inside. A full color instruction booklet explaining lore and controls and all kind of stuff, right? Usually some promotional materials for maybe other games from that publisher. Sometimes a coupon, right? All that stuff. That was nice to look through. Hell, if you bought a collector's edition of a game back in the day, it would come with so much stuff. Soundtrack, art book, supplementary download code materials to add DLC to your game. Physical medium as collectibles. Remember the chip for Fallout New Vegas and the deck of cards that had all the characters on it, right? All those neat things that you would get to be remembrances of tie-ins with the game. That was awesome. That era of gaming, 10, 15 years ago, was really cool, that 5-year span. And then slowly over time, you started to see things change. I would buy a game and I would open it to unbox it. There's nothing in there but the disc. There's no instructions. There's no insert. There's nothing with this at all. It's an empty box except for the game disc. In some cases, you actually would open the game box and there was no game in there, just a download code. So you didn't even get a physical game anyway. You just got a box, right? So I had to, over time, phase out release day unboxing. There was nothing left to unbox, so I just started getting I started getting digital games. I remember it was around 2015 into 2016 when all of a sudden there really was no reason to get the physical copies anymore. So I just started getting everything digital. I never had to make trips to GameStop ever again. Originally, it was part of my routine. On a new release day, I would get up early. I would go to, say, Jack in the Box or another place around here, get a breakfast sandwich, go to GameStop, pick up the new games in the morning, come back home, release day unboxing, and then play them for you guys on stream that day. And it just phased out after, of course, like 1 to 2 years of me living here. I just stopped doing it because there was no point. It was nothing. It was a joke to do those unboxings. So yeah, it's a lost thing now. And I think it's orchestrated by the companies. They 100% felt this was the way to go. They don't care about the reseller industry. They don't give two shits about GameStop being negatively hurt by this at all. They never liked GameStop to begin with. Don't let them fool you. They wanted to go all digital for a very long time, and really it was this physical games market that was holding them back. But now I feel like they've like there's nothing to stop us now. We're just gonna get this shit out of here. So yeah, this story is not surprising. Now again, it's not. This is gonna change it immediately. This is just Sony's just not gonna make their own discs anymore. So if for discs they are gonna make, they're gonna outsource to other companies that are already mass producing these on the cheap. But absolutely, you might have noticed if you go to your local store like Best Buy, used to have an insanely huge movie section. They don't have movies or music anymore. It's gone. They don't even sell it. Like, just get it digitally. Wow. So you really can't even own a movie collection anymore. It doesn't exist. I mean, the reseller market right now is booming because of this. But outside of that, yeah, we're on the way out. Everything's going to be just over the internet. Since the internet has improved so much in the last decade, everything is just becoming this now. So, pretty interesting story. Now, what's actually interesting about it is that there's another story. Just listen to this. Anyone remember the company Redbox? I remember them. I've never used it, but I totally remember it. Has anyone in my chat, or even watching this on demand, have any of you ever used Redbox before? The service. Did you put your hand up? If you did? Well, why'd you do that? I can't see your hand. What do you... Put your hand down. But anyway, for those who remember Redbox, or don't remember Redbox, I should say, allow me to explain what it is. Redbox came out around the same time as Netflix was becoming popular. So, yeah, it's been around for a while, okay? That's why you probably haven't heard of it now, because it really is something that's outdated today. So, here's what happened. Video rental stores were going out of business. Blockbuster Video, Hollywood Video, they weren't thriving anymore as everything was becoming DVDs and then starting to be digital. A lot of these mail services, like Netflix originally was, hey, we mail you a disc of what you want, you watch it, and you mail it back to us. It was a mail order disc service at first, before it became an all digital on-demand service. So at that era, when they were doing that, Redbox wanted to basically cut out the middleman and say, well, why do you have to mail anything? Instead, we're going to have these actual like booths, kiosks that are basically look like soda machines, okay? And they're going to be all over the place. You'll find it at a local mall. You'll find it at a movie theater. You'll find it at a convenience store. And all you got to do is you walk up to the Redbox machine, and you can pick what movies you want to watch and what format, because at first, it was just regular DVDs. Then, of course, everyone converted over to Blu-rays. But at one point, it was actually regular DVDs. You say, oh, for the menu, you pick what movie you're interested in watching or renting. You would put your credit card in. It would charge you a flat fee for how long you were going to have that movie out. And then it would actually dispense the physical disc movie to you from the inside. Now, what was to happen was you were to return that movie within a set period of time, just like if you had rented it from Blockbuster Video or another video store, and then you would basically be in the clear. If you didn't return the movie, I believe what they would do, there were fees associated with it. You couldn't use the service again, stuff like that, okay? So Redbox essentially was, hey, it's Netflix without mailing anything. Why spend time on waiting for it to show up through the mail and having to mail the disc physically back when you could just get it immediately, instant gratification, get the disc, and then you just got to return it to that kiosk. Now, I can imagine at first probably no one returned anything. You spent $3 to $5. You get I just got a movie for $5. You walk the fuck out and you never come back, right? Right? That's what I would think, but I don't exactly know how it worked. Did they have a deposit? Like, would they have a safety deposit of like $20? And then if you never deposit or brought the movie back, did they charge you the full 20? I don't know exactly how it works. You think the business model wouldn't work if everyone just walked away the first time and stole a movie, essentially, right? But Redbox worked. In fact, there was a worry at one point that Redbox was actually going to eat up the market share of Netflix. The only problem was not everyone had a Redbox near them. So because of that, Netflix could be basically anywhere mail order. while Redbox had to be physically in your town or wherever in order for you to use the service. Also, keep in mind with Netflix, they had a larger selection, while Redbox, you're limited to what's in the machine, right? If let's say the hot new Marvel movie came out and everyone wanted to see it, well, they all rented it out, so now it's not there. As opposed to Netflix, they had more selection and more quantity, right? So, oh, here we go. They have your credit card info. They would charge you if you didn't take it back. And Lady Charisma says it was like $1 a day when I used to use it. They had your card data so they could just charge it. So basically, if you don't bring it back, they just keep charging you $1 a day infinitely. So you could have a movie, keep it, and you have to pay $365 if you don't return it within a year. Wow. Okay, I can see how that could work, except you could just close the credit card too. Right? Or if your card goes over the limit, they can't charge it anymore, right? So, okay, so there's limits to it, but I kind of get it. I get the premise. Anyway, why am I bringing this up today? Redbox, today in 2024, the era of digital, they just filed for bankruptcy. Today. So I want you to think about this. Physical media of movies has been out on the outs for like a decade, right? Netflix literally hasn't done the big physical disc shit as their main focus in a million years. Redbox was still successful until now. Until right now. Jeez. How in the holy hell did they survive that long, right? It's wild to think that they were around. But anyway, the story is a lot more grim. You ready? Employees are saying they haven't been paid in over a week. They're owed money from the company, and the company is not answering them when they're asking them, where are our wages? Also, they owe major money to companies such as Walmart, Walgreens, Universal, Sony, and Warner Brothers for deals that they had in placement of their machines and movies in there. They just never paid them. They kept all the money, and then they never paid anybody. In addition, they're facing over a dozen lawsuits for unpaid bills simply for operating the company. So they're not paying their employees. They're not honoring any of their licensing agreements. They're not paying anyone for any bills that they've incurred. They are nearly $1 billion in debt. Wow. I mean, here's the thing. They've been around for so long. How do you not see the writing on the wall? Was this a group of people who literally were like, well, everything's going digital. What'd you say? I can't hear you. No, sir, Mr. CEO, listen to us. Everything's going digital. We have to adapt our business. What'd you say? Neener, earmuffs. I don't hear you. What? How do you run a company like that? That's crazy, right? To me, I just don't understand. How do you, I don't get it. How do you get that back? Because at least at one point you have to acknowledge, okay, things are changing. So we have to change with it. Now, let's just keep racking up money. Let's just hope for the best. Let's just hope that somehow our profits increase. What? That'd be like me saying, all right, I see right now, for some reason, people are not enjoying content I'm putting out, right? I'm putting out some kind of content and no one's showing up for it. No one's engaging. No one's supporting it. Everyone dislikes it. I'm just going to keep making it anyway. Too bad. Because I feel like it. But that's not how you run a business. You know me, I have to change. If I'm playing a game and you guys aren't liking it, we got to change it. If I'm doing a series, it doesn't work, we got to change it. Look at last year when I said I wanted to do a lot more long-form React stuff, and people outright said, nah, it's just not that interesting. So I cut it out. And then we did more gaming, and people were happy with that, right? So you got to listen. Just feedback. It sounds like they did absolutely no market research or feedback, and they just said, we'll just keep going, right? Notorious Gun says, I have a family member. They interviewed for a high-up position with Redbox. They were turned down because they were suggesting they move away from physical Redbox and go digital instead. Wow. So anyway, yeah, if you like Redbox, I definitely would not be looking for a Redbox machine near you. They're probably not. You're not going to see them. It's just they're declaring bankruptcy, right? It's pretty much going to be the end of them, unless they can somehow restructure. I don't know how they could restructure if at this point they haven't like reformatted to be like Netflix stopped being physical disc medium a long time ago. They had a legacy version of it that people were still using for a while, but even they announced recently that's gone. They're done with it now. So. It's, look how Netflix changed. Now Netflix is one of the premier video streaming services in the world. So what happened to Redbox? I never think of Redbox as a video streaming service. They probably have something, but they probably don't have any of the agreements. And if they didn't pay their bills, that's not good. Because here's the thing. Any video distribution service is reliant on one thing. Videos to distribute. It's not like Redbox is producing their own videos to put out. They have to have other people's content to distribute. And if no one trusts them, you know, they're not trustworthy because they don't pay their bills, they don't live up to their agreements, no one's going to give them content to distribute. So they're not going to be able to survive. Even if they declare bankruptcy and they get out of a lot of stuff, they're not going to have any content moving forward to distribute, so there's no way they can recover, right? Yeah, see? Lady Christmas says, yes, Redbox does have a streaming service, but no one uses it. Escanor says, I had a few times I rented a game from Redbox. All that was in the case was a piece of paper so you could scam them. So what you're saying is people would return, they wouldn't return the game, the thing. They would just put a piece of paper in the box and they would be fooled. Huh. Well, if you liked Redbox, sorry to report, they're on the outs. So a double dose of bad news for physical media today. Sony is getting out of the business, and Redbox is going out of business, or at least declaring bankruptcy, which probably will lead to going out of business. There you have it. All right, guys, that's what I got for today. Now, normally I would say, hey, it's time for shout-outs. We have absolutely no contributions today whatsoever. No super chats, no super thanks, no memberships, no re-upping of memberships, and no tips. So I have nothing to shout out now. Nothing. Nothing. I'm just going to sit here for the next 20 minutes saying nothing. 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 Do you think that will hammer anything in? Nothing. I'm just being silly. Let's do Q&A. You guys tag me in the chat, and I will talk about whatever you want to chat about. If someone does contribute, I will shout it out. I'm just saying, if you contribute now, it helps out my React show. So that way, during the React show, I don't have to sit there and be like, oh, guys, please contribute. You know, it is a normal streaming day for me. I look to hit $50 every stream in tips. So if you could contribute today, that would be very much appreciated. But right now, there's nothing. Nothing. Escanor says it was a copy of the front of the disc. It had a barcode on it that it scanned. Oh, so they took a picture of the disc, put the piece of paper in the box so it scanned to look like it was the movie, but there was no movie in there. Wow. Nothing. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. I love Gene Wilder, man. I miss him. Anyway. You stole fizzy lifting drinks. You hit the wall. They have to be clean, sterilized. Spawn Killer just did a super chat. First super chat of the day, so I can't say nothing again. He goes, remember GameFly? Yep, again, that GameFly was the answer to Netflix, but for games, right? Instead of movies, it was game distribution physically. And it worked for a while, but the internet improved. I mean, let's be honest here. In the last decade, internet has dramatically improved. Even in the United States, where the infrastructure is not owned by one company or the government, our internet quality has dramatically improved. I never would have fathomed that I would be able to stream full HD quality TV shows, movies on my phone, right? Now I'm able, at night, I watch back my videos on DSP Throwback to title them on my phone before I go to sleep. I watch Street Fighter matches in full HD quality on my phone so that I can learn tech for the next day. Who the hell would have ever thought you could do that? It was, you know, technology is advancing so fast at this point, and it just blew away industry. The industry never thought, oh, we'll build a giant business based on disc distribution. Oops, it all fell apart within 10, 15 years because technology advanced so fast, you know? I never would have predicted that. You get nothing. What's up, Venom Snake? How you doing, man? He says, ready for reacting today? You are the man. Thank you, Venom Snake. Yeah. What's on your mind, everybody? What is on everybody's mind today? I want to know. Okie dokie tipped $1 and says, can you unban me? I don't know why I got banned. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. I have no idea what happened. I'm scrolling up. I don't think it happened anytime soon. Or anytime recently. I scrolled all the way up, and I don't see when you got banned. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. You know the way to get unbanned, right? And email me and look into it. I don't know. People are now saying in chat that was Kirk all along. I didn't even know that. I swear to God, if that is Kirk, I had no clue that that was Kirk. I didn't know that at all. You guys knew more than me. I didn't even know that. So you know how to get unbanned if you're interested in getting unbanned. Or if indeed, if it is Kirk, make your 400th sock account and come in and make sure I don't know it's you. All right. I find it funny you guys know before me. I didn't know that. I don't pay, again, like for me, I tell everyone gets an equal shot here, right? Everyone gets an equal shot. Everyone has to live by the same rules. No one's special. No one gets treated any better or any worse than anybody else. As long as you don't break the rules, you're here. If you break the rules, you're gone. Kirk used to break the rules a ton. He got appropriately moderated, appropriately told to basically screw off. And, you know, I guess he made a new account. I didn't know. I had no clue that was him. And I guess he wasn't breaking the rules for the longest time. And apparently he did again. What else can I say? Spawn Killer did a second super chat. Sad note, remember Martin Mull. He has passed away. Yes, I know. Martin Mull was a prominent comedian and comedic actor, particularly in the 1980s and some of the 90s. Notably, he was on, what was that show he was on? It was a sitcom, but I never watched it. He was on a sitcom for a really long time, but I don't remember which one it was. I know him from 1980s movies. He was always like a character actor, like he would play like side roles in movies and stuff. And Clue, he played Colonel Mustard, and it was one of his best roles, actually. It's funny because did you know when the movie Clue came out, it flopped and critics said they hated it? What the fuck was wrong with critics in the 1980s? Clue is genuinely one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. It is an ensemble cast of amazing actors, actresses, and comedians. It has great writing, great comedic timing. I have no fucking idea why they hated that movie. You had to be a fucking moron. I don't know what is wrong with people in the 80s. That movie is great. So anyway, he's great in that movie, and I know he was in other, like I said, he was in a long-running recurring role in a TV series, but I don't remember what it was because it was a sitcom I never watched. But anyway, yeah, he passed away the other day. But he lived a very nice life, a long life. He was in his 80s, so, you know. He was in Danny Phantom? I did not know that. I did not know he was in Danny Phantom. Okay. Oh, my nose itches. What is my take on immersive sims? I know you play games like Deus Ex and Prey 2. Would you consider those immersive sims? I don't know if I would consider those immersive sims at all. Well, I think immersive sim, I think like Second Life or one of these MMOs where you can literally role play a person. What about the people who do the role playing in like GTA 6, or excuse me, GTA 5 online and stuff like that? I see that as an immersive sim. I don't see like Deus Ex as an immersive sim. I don't even think I've ever even heard anyone call it that. Anyway, what do I think of them? I don't really participate in something that's truly immersive. I just don't have time for it, you know? For people who get heavily into that stuff, for a lot of time, that's like their big hobby, right? Like a lot of people who do the GTA 5 roleplay stuff, like that's a big time sink for them. To invest time and money and effort into designing a character, and this is your virtual self, your virtual avatar, and you know, you go in there and that's you online or whatever. But I don't I don't have time for that, nor am I interested in making that kind of content. So yeah, I don't really care about it. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Venom Sting says, maybe it sounds silly to you, but you always cheer me up. Here's the thing. That's not silly. I'm happy to hear that. Again, I'm just a normal guy sharing my takes on games, on life, on everything with you every day. We have this little back and forth we have. It's a cool social thing, right? And the way I see it, if you get anything positive out of it, it means that I did something right on this earth, right? And that's a good thing. And by the way, no one gets hurt. See here, we're not standing here stomping on other people. We're not driving people down. We're not making fun of people, defaming people. We're just being nice, positive people with each other. And if people are getting positivity out of that and getting something good out of that and it puts a smile on your face, then I've done my job on this planet, right? I've left a positive mark. As much as morons out there would say, oh, Phil's an awful person, I have left way more of a positive mark on this planet than a negative one. The proof is in the pudding when people like Venom Steak and others combined say this stuff every day. And I'm not hurting anyone or dragging anyone down at their expense, you know, at my, to get over them. It's not, no one's getting hurt in the process of what I do, right? So, if anything, the people who really need to be looked at is the people who are these insane troll idiots. They're the ones who are hurting everyone around them on a daily basis for personal gain. Not me. I'm having a good time just chilling with you guys, right? So, I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that you're getting something out of it, man. Excuse me. Mull's in Roseanne. Oh, okay. He was in Roseanne for a long time. Mm-hmm. Venom 6 says, good times and games. You are the man. Well, thank you. Oh, no, I don't have any tattoos or anything like that. Sorry, all of a sudden a yawn came out of nowhere. My bad. I didn't mean to do that. No, I don't have any tattoos or anything like that. When I was younger, I always thought really stupidly that I wanted tattoos. I thought, oh, I'll have like a back tattoo that'll go across the whole top of my back or something dumb like that, right? Luckily, I never did anything like that. And then when I grew up, I was like, thank God I didn't. I'm happy I didn't. Like, for example, I know a person who, when they were younger, basically went out with their friends, got drunk, and got silly tattoos that are really dumb, and then they had to live with that for their whole life. I mean, today they obviously could have gotten it, like, removed with laser or whatever, but back then, they didn't have that shit. So they had to live with this stupid tattoo on their arm. Luckily, it was, like, on their upper arm, so they were able to wear stuff to kind of cover it so no one would see it. But it was a really stupid, bad tattoo. It was really dumb. Like, well, like, glad you don't do that, right? And just, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with tattoos. There's nothing wrong with piercings. But for me, like, my personal thing, moderation, right? You get a piercing, you get a tattoo, that's fine. These people that go crazy, I need to have 17 pieces of metal on my face. I need to have chains that are connecting the pieces of metal. I want tattoos all over my fucking body, everywhere, you know? I just don't get that. It's like, who are you as a person? Do you really think that you're a special, better, more interesting person because you physically modified your body like that? Anyone can do that with money. They could walk right into the shop and get the piercing or get the tattoo. You didn't accomplish anything. I've actually heard this really stupid thing. Oh, well, everyone knows that tattoos hurt. So if someone sees someone covered in tattoos, you think, oh, that's a badass because they went through all that pain. A badass? No, that's a dumbass. That's someone who literally said, I want to subject myself to that level of pain for an extended period of time just to say, hey, look at me. Look at me. It's the same as like a peacock strutting around with its feathers, right? Who gives a fuck? It doesn't make you a more interesting person. It doesn't make you a tougher person or a better person. It just makes you someone who's an attention whore. Look at me. Look at me. Right? There's nothing wrong with having a few tattoos or anything, you know, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. But these people that are completely covered in it, it's like, yeah, obviously, in truth, my opinion is thus. You see someone like that, you know what the truth is, that's a boring person. That's a 100% super boring person because the only way they felt they could get noticed in life or attention is because they had to completely modify their body in an over-the-top way, right? You know, the same way that certain streamers have to dress up or dye their hair, say, look at me, I'm a cartoon character, look at me. Like, yeah, but if you put out good content, no one would have to look at you for your cartoon looks. They just like you for you, right? So why do you have to do that? It's the peacock mentality is what it is. Look at me, I'm so special because I look so different. Nobody cares. Especially in today's world too. Like, remember, it used to be that was the rare thing. Now it's like common. It's absolutely incredibly common to see people who have a bunch of piercings, a bunch of tattoos, a bunch of dyed hair, a bunch of this, a bunch of that. It's just not special anymore. In fact, I'd argue it's becoming more common than not. It's less common to see someone looking normal, right? So it's not special anymore. You've just become more of the status quo by doing it. It's kind of silly. Okay. Well, okie dokie, tip the dollar says I emailed you. All right. I'll look at it later. I'm not going to look at it now. Okay. Oh, let's see. No, I'm not interested in piercings or dyeing my hair. I never really have been. Like I said, tattoo at one point I thought about. I never thought about getting a piercing. I never thought about dyeing my hair. I don't care. I don't wear gaudy jewelry. I could have. I don't care about wearing a big watch or fucking jewelry or whatever. I don't care about that shit. I never did. Fox Mulder says tonight they're watching Friday the 13th Part 2. Friday the 13th Part 2 is essentially where everyone remembers Friday the 13th from. No one remembers the first movie because the first movie is actually very different. I won't spoil why. Does Bison win the Zangief matchup because of the range of his medium and heavy kick? I have no idea, Night Shift. Bison's brand new. I certainly haven't played him enough to know. I haven't tried fighting him with Zangief. I only done the other way around. If I fought him with Zangief and I could see what can I grab or whatever, maybe I would have an idea. Like, it's very simple. If Zangief can SPD his normals, then no. That Bison would have a tough time against Zangief. If he can't because his normals are out of range and ungrabbable because of the hitboxes, then yes, Bison will beat him clean, but I don't know the answer to that. I haven't done it yet. Okay, any other topics, guys? Remember, soon we're going to swap over to DSP React and do the clip show. Winston, I am not talking politics like that on the streams. I'm just not, as you know. I don't do that. That divides people, and I don't talk that kind of stuff. That's my personal takes and nothing to do with public knowledge. So, I don't know what First Descendant is. Never heard of it. This is the first I ever heard of anyone mentioning it. Would I ever try multiplayer in Elden Ring? Probably not. It's never been my thing. The multiplayer stuff has never really been of much interest to me. Particularly, I don't really feel they ever fixed the multiplayer to feel like it was fair. Every time I ever tried it, it's like phantom backstab and shit. And I'm like, what am I playing this for? So, not too interested in that, no. Venom Sink says, we are fans of yours because of you, not because you're some kind of an elite gamer. Well, I'm glad you feel that way because I don't think I'm an elite gamer in anything I do whatsoever. Even games that I do better in fighting games, I'm not an elite gamer. I don't play enough to even hang with the people who are good. Like, I'll be honest, if I played a pro, they would spank me. I would never be able to beat anyone who's very good at fighting games, so I don't play enough to learn that stuff, you know? But that's not what it's about. It's about having a good time and sharing that passion for games, right? There you go. I got a $2 tip. Someone says, there's a game called Wrestling Empire on Steam. It's not affiliated with WWE, so it's like an indie game. It has a 95% rating. It would run on your mini PC, and it costs $10 for the Steam Summer Sale. Well, there's two things about that. Number one, I don't actually care about pro wrestling anymore. I stopped watching it in 2020. I keep telling people this. I literally stopped watching pro wrestling in 2020. Okay, like I stopped caring about it entirely. And then for like 3 years after that, people kept asking me pro wrestling questions on stream, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't care, I don't follow pro wrestling anymore. You know, I did for a year or two there. I played the WWE games. It was okay, but not great. I don't feel like they really improved that much. We mostly were doing it for wrestling sims, which was nice for a little bit, but even that, the whole idea kind of wore out. I didn't even buy last year. I didn't buy the new one. I played the old one 2 years in a row for wrestling sims. This year, I didn't even care when it came out. I just ignored it. Right? Like, I'm just not into it. That number one, I'm just not into it anymore. That's the thing. Number two, as you know, the insane and negative troll memes about me about the stupid fucking mobile game that happens to be a wrestling game. That's another reason why I just don't care about wrestling anymore. Like, if anyone said wrestling, oh my god, WWE champions, they're morons. You know, it's like they foam up at the mouth and they start drooling all over the place. I don't care. I don't care about any of that. None of it's true. I don't pay any attention to it. Okay? So, just talking about it gets idiots riled up. I don't even want to fuck with that. Like, there's no point. I don't want to create drama. And by the way, I'm probably not going to like it that much anyway, because again, I've actually, no exaggeration, in the last 5 years of my life, because of this detractor shit, I just don't care about pro wrestling anymore. I don't even like it. It's kind of giving me, you know how, okay. So, your whole life you liked shrimp. You thought they were delicious. And then one day you go to a shrimp restaurant and you get a bad batch, right? And you eat them and you get sick. Oh, God, it's the worst you've ever had. You're coming out of both holes, vomiting and shitting profusely, right? And you're sick for like 2 days because of it. Then what ends up happening is you get a negative association in your mind over shrimp. So even though you very well could go eat shrimp at a good place again, you never want shrimp ever again, because all that you're reminded of is that bad experience you've had with the shrimp, right? So no exaggeration, when I think pro wrestling now, I just think about years of harassment, years of lies, years of bullshit that I've had to put up with and listen to and have no defense against, because I don't have money to sue these fucking people for defamation. So I just got to sit here and take it. And then we got people who fucking, oh, I can't be a fan of Phil's anymore because of this. And none of it's true, but I have to deal with the repercussions of that. So it makes me like, I just don't enjoy wrestling anymore. You know, they actually killed any enjoyment I could have got out of it because they gave it this huge negative association in my head. I even think about it like, oh, drama, nonsense, toxicity, lies, and all the shit that I've had to put up with for so long, and I don't want to care about it anymore. You know, that's just the truth. It's sad, but true. So I just don't care about pro wrestling. I don't, even though this game very well could be really good, I don't care. I don't even want to fucking touch it with a 1,000,000-foot pole because I just don't want to deal with that bullshit again. I'm already done talking about it. I'm past it. I don't want to go back there. So I don't want to even fucking bring it up in order to have more morons get stirring it up again about the nonsense. Okay? Okay, hope you understand. I received a $5 tip from an anonymous tipper. It says, anonymous, hope your morning has been off to a good start. Basically, they're just saying, rest in peace to Super Blind Man. So, yes, rest in peace to Super Blind Man. I'm very sorry to hear that we lost him, but I've already made a whole tribute video about that yesterday. So if you want to hear my thoughts about Super Blind Man, I did a whole 5-minute tribute to him yesterday. Check it out on this channel. And that's that. Okay. Let's see here. Fandango tipped me $1. Says, I've beaten Elden Ring. I used Ash Summons for Melania because I felt, because of that, I feel empty and depressed. How do I cope? You know, you didn't have to beat her. She's optional. Melania is not part of the story. You totally didn't have to beat her at all. You could have just completely skipped her. So I don't know why. Like, if you were going to feel depressed, right? If you're going to feel depressed because you did it that way, then why did you do it that way? Right? If you had the choice, I would have just skipped it because you don't need to beat her. So, and by the way, for the record, so far, there's absolutely, positively nothing in the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC that's as tough as her. Now, I'm about halfway through it. We'll see by the end. Nothing is as tough as her at all. I get the feeling nothing will be. I think they want her to remain the super boss, but maybe I'm wrong. I guess we'll see. Excuse me. Let's see. So someone tipped $5 and says they have an interesting question regarding feedback. All right, let's read this. We're running out of time for the show, by the way, guys. I really wish that these questions had come in earlier, but I'll do my best because we have to hurry and we have to get to the react show and within 10 minutes here. They said anonymous tipper says, would you appreciate us promoting your shows in any way that we can, or in offering suggestions for improvement? How do you see DSP versus the internet now that it's about a year old? How can we help? All right. Well, allow me to say a couple things in regards to this. Number one, I have never, ever actively advertised anywhere. You've never seen an ad for Darkside Phil or DSPGaming or anything like that anywhere, have you? I don't cross-collaborate with many or any people. The exception being maybe doing, a couple lobbies here with Brian, which actually I'm waiting to hear back about the possibility of maybe doing another lobby with him in the next week or two. I'm not sure. It'll depend on scheduling and everything, but I want to play a little bit more with Bison before I get to the point where I decide that I want to do another lobby like that. But we'll see, what happens with that. So that's really, I haven't really done anything like that. I never was part of a gaming team. Even when I was with Machinima for that very extended period of time, right? I didn't get any kind of promotion. I didn't get any kind of advertisement. Oh, go check out our partner, Darkside Phil. None of that, right? For me, it's been simple. I make content. People watch it. If they like it, word of mouth, they tell their, hey, go check out DSP for this or that he just did this and that, and it's really good, right? And that's that. That's how it's always been. Now, a lot of people can say, well, that was the worst thing you could have done. There's been documentarians saying Phil had all the popularity. He squandered it all because he didn't do this, this, and this, which is what everybody else did, right? Fair enough. But the way I see it is, sadly, for me today, there's nothing I can really do to promote my content because of the amount of hate I get, right? There's nothing I can do to go out there and say, hey, here I am, check this out. It's something new. Like, no one cares. I'm always just going to be appealing to my core audience, all right? And that's all I can really do. So, hey, if you like my content, feel free to spread the word. But what I would say is there's good ways to do that. Tell your friends. Tell other people who are like-minded to you. Don't go on another content creator's stream or video and start cross-promoting me. Do not do that. Because that's very, very rude. Their content is meant to be an avenue for them to promote themselves and their content, not to other people advertising on there. So don't do anything like that. Don't go attacking other people and being nasty to them and saying, oh, DSP is better. Don't do that shit. All right? For me, listen, I don't care who's better or worse than me when it comes to content creation. All I care about is if you like my stuff. If you like my stuff, feel free, right, to go talk to other people about it, but don't bring it into other people's content. Now, in regards to improving stuff, I'm always open to suggestions. I need suggestions. I love suggestions. Any suggestions are always greatly appreciated. As long as they're constructive. There's a difference between, I don't like your podcast. Okay, that's not a suggestion. That's just a pet peeve. You don't like it. That's great. Why don't you like it? What can I do to improve it? Well, I want your podcast to only be 10 minutes long. Well, that's never going to happen. Then it's not a podcast. So, you see what I'm saying? There's a difference between a positive, constructive suggestion that's realistic and could help versus, I just don't like something, you suck. Okay? So, any kind of positive suggestions, always greatly appreciated. And you can do that in video comments. You can do that on the stream chat. You can do that in many different avenues. Okay? But I don't want anyone going and white knighting, saying, oh, DSP's the best, you all suck, and stuff like that. Like, here's the thing. I criticize content creators all the time. I mean, I was just here the other day criticizing Dr. Disrespect, saying I don't see the entertainment value in a guy dressing up like a cartoon character, correct? At the same time, that doesn't mean that you go attack the guy and say that his content sucks. It's up to you to judge for yourself if that's something entertaining or not. Personally, I think it's probably the lowest brow, crappiest content. Besides hater content and detractor content, that's worse. But acting like a cartoon character is pretty low way to get children to watch your content, which is essentially what a lot of YouTubers have done to get themselves over and become millionaires. Big Mac says, I'm a React channel member. How do I submit videos? Well, first of all, if you want to submit videos, you have to be submissions tier or ultra tier members. Okay? What I do is every single night after I finish the React show, usually it's like late Sunday night before I'm done with work, on the community tab of the page, I post up 2 threads or 3 threads. One for submissions tier, one for super members, one for ultra members. You can see those threads as long as you're a member of the channel. One of those levels of member. Then you post up your videos there. If you're a submissions member, you can post up 2. Super members can post up questions for me to answer. And ultra tier members can post up 1 a week. And that's where I see them. And then basically the night before, I go through all the submissions and I put them in the playlist. And that's what we watch. That's how it works. More tips have come in, but I got to get out of here, guys. We got to get the React show going. I wish he had come in earlier. Larson tipped $2 saying I look good. Well, good for you, Larson. I'm glad that you feel that way. But maybe you want to keep that to yourself. And I received a $2 tip from an anonymous tipper saying, I was watching your Yakuza 5 playthrough yesterday. I noticed it has high views. The first part has over 60K views. Why do you think that is? All I can tell you is what I was told. Okay? So back then, first of all, this was before I was an interactive live streamer. Yakuza 5 was a very long time ago. Probably about a decade ago. And basically back then, not a lot of people who were English speaking were doing full playthroughs of the Yakuza games on YouTube. There were people who were Japanese who had done full playthroughs on the internet, but in general, there weren't a lot of full English speaking playthroughs of the game. So watching me play the game opened up that series to a lot of people who maybe hadn't heard of it or hadn't been able to experience it for, English speaking version. You know what I'm saying? And I think at that time, again, I was way more prominent a decade ago, right? I was way well known. I had way more views and everything. Playing a game like that exposed the franchise to a lot more people. There just weren't a ton of Let's Plays or playthroughs of Yakuza games on the internet at that point. They hadn't exploded in popularity yet. So when I played Yakuza 4 and 5, they actually got a ton of views. The funny part is, not immediately. When I first uploaded those playthroughs, they did not. It took months and months. And then all of a sudden, I guess what would happen is they would hit the algorithm the right way. And then all of a sudden, a lot of people would start watching them after the fact. And I would get a big boost in viewership like 3 months later for a playthrough I had done months before. So I never actively enjoyed that. It wasn't like I had tons of people watching live when I was streaming or when I first was putting up those playthroughs. It kind of came after the fact. But then most everything, 2 things happened. Yakuza exploded in popularity, and I declined in popularity. So there were way more people who knew what Yakuza was and wanted to play it. So there were way more options of people watching Yakuza playthroughs than just me. And everyone on the internet wanted to crap on me and say that I made terrible content. Despite the fact that not true, but that's just what they wanted to believe because they wanted to bully someone. So people stopped watching my stuff, despite the fact that I've never stopped covering Yakuza. And I've covered every major game. I played Yakuza 4. Well, first of all, I played Dead Souls. Then I played 4. Then I played 5. Then I played 6. I played Kiwami. But then I stopped playing it, right? I only played a little bit of Yakuza Kiwami. I played 0, right? I played Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. And what was the other one that I played that was the throwback game? That played like you were a samurai. I played that one. And then recently, the end of last year, I played the spin-off game starring Kazuma Kiryu that bridged the gap between Yakuza, Like a Dragon, and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. So I played all of those, right? All of them. And I love them. I still like the games. Even though Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth I felt wasn't as good as the one before. Still really enjoyed it. Had a great time with it. And I still love them. Listen, I'm not getting tons of views on anything I do anymore. It's not about that. But I'm happy that at one point, I mean, keep in mind, back in the day, People listened to me. Before I became the whipping boy and fucking negative meme of the internet, people actually listened to my things that I had to say. I made videos that were getting hundreds of thousands of views about like bills that were going to be passed in the United States that could change the internet forever and ruin things like YouTube or online gaming. I had that clout. And then I lost it because people decided to make me a joke because they thought they could get over doing it. There you go. You know, it's pretty much what happened in the last decade. But it is what it is. You know, I don't really, again, I'm happy where I am. I'm not sad that not a lot of people are watching my stuff anymore. But at the same time, yeah, it does suck that, you know, that was a franchise at the time. I really was showing Yakuza to a different audience who didn't know what it was. And it appealed to people. A lot of people say, oh, I watched your original playthroughs of those Yakuza games. And it got me to start playing the series and enjoying the series. So thank you for that, you know. But now that kind of shit doesn't happen anymore. It just doesn't. And there's nothing I can really do about it. That's how YouTube works. Right? Okay. Guys, that is it. We got to end. Even though contributions keep coming in, we got to get out of here. I got to go set up the React show. Okay? So I thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope that you will stick around. The stream will redirect you to the React show. If you're here watching on demand, well, I hope that you'll check out the videos on DSP Reacts over the course of the week. Thank you to those who supported the stream. This will help for the React stream. And good one. Good hangout session, as always. Tomorrow, I'm sure we'll be talking about the React show, any news or anything else going on. And hit the beach, wear sunscreen. All right, guys. Thank you so much. See you Monday.